Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. My next guest's been on before. He's a good man. WGN knows his hoops, knows his football, and got married last year, invited us. I couldn't make it. I wanted to go. I was doing stand-up in the Chicago area. Please welcome Tim Doyle. Tim, how's marriage going?
Doing okay. You know, I'm still waiting on your gift.
Oh, my God.
He didn't go.
Well, I gave it to Dan. Dan was supposed to mail it out right after the wedding. What happened?
Oh, Dan.
You know, you're not one of those guys that gives me like a plate, right? You're cash only, are you?
No, yeah, I'm nothing but cash. I come from a Paisan family in North Jersey. We give cash. Expect a roll of 50s in about 2 days. I'll get right on this.
Yeah, right. No, it was $1.50 a plate, so just cover your plate. I'm fine with that.
I don't cover the plate. Believe me, my plate, I need about 2 G's. For the happy hour alone. So how you doing, man? What game are you covering tonight?
Michigan beat Ohio State. First time Ohio State has lost at home against Michigan in the last 9 years. So it was a little bit of an upset. The Big Ten, I think everyone's trying to decide right now, basketball-wise in the conference, is it really deep?
Yeah.
Or is it just not that good this year? So, you know, it's so hard to say this is the best conference. You know, come March, and whoever's in the Sweet 16 and the Final Four, well, that will tell you who is the best conference during the season.
How does Michigan really look? I mean, it sounds like they're good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's pretty good. You know, they lost 2 guys to the NBA draft. Trey Burke was National Player of the Year last year, and Tim Hardaway's on the Knicks there in New York. So they had a little bit of an adjustment when they lost those guys, but they have a really good player, Nick Stauskas, white kid out of Canada. He could shoot. I mean, they're good. Their coach is really, really good, and they have some. Ohio State just couldn't throw it in the ocean. They were 3 for 20 from 3, and even though they were favorite in that game, they just couldn't make a shot. And when you can't make a shot, then everyone just packs it in, and then you can't drive. And in basketball, after watching all these years, Artie, I didn't know this, and my dad didn't teach me this, and my older brothers got scholarships. If you can't shoot, you can't play basketball. Meaning, if you can't make an outside shot, then you can't play. So that's the way the game is being played right now. That's the number one thing you should teach your kid. Got to be able to make outside shots.
When you look at a guy like Dennis Rodman's career, do you think that's true?
Yeah, I'm always to the rule, you know. And he had such a unique skill set, and you could say a guy like Charles Oakley,
right?
Career. Or do you remember him? Like 15, he did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, there's always guys. You know, certain guys. Eric Snow is just like a great defensive player. Bruce Bowen was just a defensive player. So yes, there's exceptions to the rule, but of the millions of people that play basketball, you know, those are the 1 or 2 in the whole world that are able to just be like that specific of a guy in the NBA.
Yeah, it's funny about Rodman too. Every once in a while, he hit like a fadeaway 25-footer off the glass, and just surprise everybody. Interesting.
Banked it in.
I mean, what was he on when he went to North Korea?
Oh, you know what?
He was drunk.
A lot. He said it's booze, and I hear he's out of rehab and back to his old self. I don't know. I worry about Dennis. I hope he's all right, but God knows what was going on in North Korea.
Hey, Tim, do you feel like you have a bias toward the Big Ten since that's your conference that you work? Or do you – I mean, when you say something like, hey, there's that question out there, is this really the best conference in the country? Or, you know, are they the deepest or are they, you know, kind of a fraud? Aren't there other teams that could be up there with the Big Ten? And who are they?
Oh, I absolutely. And the Big Ten – it's amazing. They haven't won a national championship since 2001 in basketball. And they haven't won a national championship in football since Ohio State upset Miami. Now, they've been in the top game a bunch of times with a bunch of different teams, but judged in national titles, and they've won 7 of the last 8. So the Big Ten, one of these years, they're going to have to win a national title, but because every year they say, it's the toughest conference, and I work for the conference and the network, but the reality is you're going to have to win it one of these years to get the nation's attention.
At that level, you do. At that level, you got to win. Unfortunately, number 2 doesn't work at that level for a long time.
Right.
You know.
Mike Bichetti, we were talking about March Madness. It is coming up. Mike likes the Knicks. Who do you like coming out of the thing? Who do you have for your Final Four?
Well, he also likes the Lakers.
I think he likes the Knicks and the Lakers. So aside from those teams, if you had to pick other teams, what would your 4 be?
You want to know something? Mike's got a point. If we can get him in the field, I just don't know how that's going to happen because they're going to be locked.
Do you really think the Knicks could?
300.
Do you think that the Knicks could compete? I don't.
Easily.
The
Knicks would win it easily.
No.
That's what Mike, you agree with that, right?
Tim, you're a genius, buddy. They're going to take it.
Yeah.
You want to know something? I've been called a lot of things in my life, Mike, and I appreciate where you're coming from right now, this late at night. Thank you very much.
Well, what?
What are your teams?
In all honesty, what are you thinking?
I legit think it's Syracuse, Arizona, Florida won tonight, and Michigan State.
What?
So to Mike's surprise, you as an expert, not one team that you're picking is in the NBA.
Yeah. Syracuse, Arizona, Michigan State, and who?
Florida, they won tonight.
Florida.
What about Wichita State, man?
They not giving any love. Florida.
The Shockers.
Great nickname, just not really feeling them on the court. And now
they're undefeated.
I know, but this year the teams are going to be gunning for them. Yeah, some teams do better when they're just lying in the weeds, but now they'll have the bullseye, especially if they go undefeated going into the tournament.
Yeah, what a great story, though. I got to give them. I'm behind
They're
the
a great
Shockers.
story. Look, there's always great stories that come out in the March Madness. There's always, they overrate these teams because it's a good story. It's cost me a lot of money over the years.
So is Wichita State going to be a 1 seed?
Right now, there'd be a 1 seed, yeah. You know what's great about the tournament is just when you wake up and there's just games on.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch the World Cup even for that reason, just because there's, I'm just like, take the under.
It's great when when you can't go to county college and you got to take a job at the port because the 16 seed out of the Southeast didn't cover against Duke.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for bringing that up, Tim. No, you're right. It is a fun time for us. People who don't even like basketball it's just so exciting.
Yeah. Have you
paid?
paid?
A lot of different parts of the country get excited about it. You know what I mean? Because even being in New York, it used to be St. John, Seton Hall. Those teams really haven't made much noise recently. But you follow someone. You know what I mean? You're always like, hey, well, Vermont's close enough. I'll root for them. Like you find yourself like forming allegiances just each and every game. Like, I'll root for them, sure.
In '89, when Seton Hall made that run and lost by a point to Michigan. To be in North and Central Jersey during that run, and they beat a lot of great teams in that tournament to get to Michigan. They beat Duke, they beat Arizona, they beat UNLV. That was so much fun, man. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best part about Seton Hall was their best player during the time had gray hair. I mean, how often do you see that at the college level? Andrew Gaze had great, that was before Walt Frazier and Keith Hernandez was doing those Just for Men commercials. Like he was just like, I have gray hair and I'm like 38 years old in college.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun to watch that. And you were hoping in Jersey you're rooting for corruption on some level. But remember that April 3rd, 1989. I'm at McGee's bar in on the corner, border of Elizabeth and Union, New Jersey. And I watched them lose by a point, man. That was rough. What's the most exciting Final Four game? That's up there, man. That Michigan Seton Hall game is up there, right?
Yeah, you want to know? Most exciting. I think the most famous play is when Leitner made the shot.
Unreal. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, that's probably the kid from Butler. If he would have made that half-court shot against Duke, that probably wouldn't have been the greatest sports moment in the history of sports. They were down 2, and he just missed that 3, but. You know what I watched today, Artie? And I didn't realize, I grew up on Long Island. I didn't realize LT was A, that good of a football player, and B, just completely nuts, huh?
You didn't realize he was that good of a football player?
Here's the thing. I'm 31, so I was born in 82. So, yes, I remember 56, and I remember the Giants. I remember the Super Bowls and everything, but I watched the Showtime did a documentary.
I saw it, too. I saw it, too.
I was like, it was sad. I didn't realize, when you're a kid, because I was a kid when he was like wrestling and stuff. So I just thought, this is normal.
Yeah, but it's history. It's the guys like the Babe Ruth, the Michael Jordan of the defense in football. You're a sports fan. Hey, I wasn't on the Titanic, but I know it sunk. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Read a book. Watch some highlights. He was on during the talkies.
No, I didn't realize. I realized he was a great football player. I just didn't realize how
NFL. All right.
How far gone he was.
Well, yeah. Well, that's another thing that a lot of people do know about him. The other character, one is the great football player. The other characteristic, a bit of a screw up. Let's face it.
Probably made him better.
No, great documentary, though, right?
Yeah, it was all. The thing was, he doesn't really look too good now. No,
Well, he's walking
he
around.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's walking around in flip-flops playing golf in Florida. It looks like that documentary makes it seem like he has a wonderful, happy life.
Did you see his little Greek friend? Now, did that guy enable him? Because that guy seemed like a character, and trust me, I'd want to go out with him. But was that almost bad that LT met a guy like that, or would he have just met another guy down the line?
Well, the story is, it's a funny story. According to this documentary, Lawrence Taylor's best friend, he's either Italian or Greek. Maybe he's Greek. I think he's Italian.
I think he's a Greek. I think he's Greek. I remember him. I watched it this morning.
5'3",
Greek.
5'3" guy, Dino something, long name. 5'3", loud, obnoxious. This is how he meets Taylor. It's classic Lawrence Taylor's life, too. How he gets people in his life. They're going to play golf. Taylor needs a partner. So the guy says, hey, Lawrence Taylor's playing. He needs a partner. He says to this guy, Dino. And Dino's just starting golf. He goes, why don't you play with LT? He wants to play with somebody. And Dino's like, I don't know how to play. I just want to play by myself. He goes, nah, play with him. So he forces these guys together on the golf course. And LT, of course, says to him, $50 a hole. And he's like, what? I just met you. I don't want to bet. He goes, no, $50 a hole. So he goes, all right. So he loses the first 8 holes. And he's like, I'm not going to lose $1,000 to this guy. So supposedly he goes up to Taylor to throw off his attention and throw his confidence and rattle him. He says to Taylor, listen, I'm gay and I never had a black guy. Let's go in the woods there and there's nobody around. Do you mind? And supposedly Taylor gets so freaked out by it he can't play anymore and he loses the next 5 holes. And then when Taylor found out he was only kidding, he thought it was the greatest joke ever. And now they're best friends. I swear to you, I've never heard a story like that in a professional athlete. Now they're the best of friends.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, it was amazing when LT fought against Bam Bam Bigelow in WrestleMania or whatever. It was the little Greek guy who let him out into the ring. He was like his manager.
They're real best friends. Like they really hang out together.
Huh.
How
about that?
And the guy's really like a little character. I said LT. I said, I never had a black man before. Let's go in the woods. I never had a black man before. And he's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, he started hitting over there, over this way, over that way, over this way. And I never had a black man before. LT thought that was a funny joke. Hey, what about, let's talk about pros. This Kevin Durant guy, is he better than LeBron?
Ooh, he's really close. I think he may be a better scorer than anyone who's ever played basketball. But maybe Wilt Chamberlain was a great scorer. But as far as like the common era of basketball, I actually think Durant's a better scorer than Jordan and a better scorer than Kobe.
Wow. He's
got such great handle. He's 7 foot. I mean, it's ridiculous.
He's a 7-footer who can pull up and hit a 3. Like that's unbelievable. It really is.
It seems like he gets taller every time we talk about it.
Yeah,
he's not 7 feet.
6'11". The amazing thing is, I think he's only 25 years old.
Now, I was watching recently. They were playing. Who were they playing? They might have been playing. It wasn't the Heat. It was somebody else. He was. No, they were. They were playing the Heat because him and LeBron. We're going basket for basket. It was the most entertaining basketball game I've ever watched on some levels. Yeah. And the thing about Durant was LeBron would hit, muscle on the inside and make a layup. Durant's 7 feet. You're right. He's pulling up hitting threes. It was really extraordinary.
I think the Eastern Conference in the NBA is, well, it's just going to be the Heat. They're going to play the Pacers, and that's going to be the East. But I think the West, with the Thunder, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Trailblazers, and the Clippers. I actually think the Western Conference in the NBA is that's a complete toss-up. So I wouldn't be surprised if a 5 or 6 seed comes out of the West and ends up taking on either the Pacers or the Heat coming out of the East, because the East is absolutely miserable. I mean, you got teams losing records like the Nets. I mean, the Knicks are still in the damn playoff hunt. It's an embarrassment to basketball. But, I'd still, Artie, if I had the first pick and I was a GM, I'd still take LeBron because genetically he's just a freak.
All right, I hear you. Well, listen, Tim, we got to roll. Great spot as always.
Thanks.
You guys are the best.
Look up
in New York, have me on, and then I'll give Dan my address. Just send me 300.
You got it. Again, all in 50s. And listen, there's a documentary coming up on a guy named Joe Montana. Watch it. He was pretty good. You're going to find out.
What was he, the Italian guy from the South Shore?
Joe, no. Joe, he played for the 49ers. You'll see. All right. Later, Timmy.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.